It is time, everybody, to discuss the AFC Best 11 from round 3 of qualifying. As the name suggests, it only has to do with the 10 games that happened in round 3 of qualifying. I'm going with a 4-2-3-1 formation here. We'll go through these positions one by one. I have my winner. I have my honorable mentions. Some I think are clear-cut. Others are really, really close. So as I go through these, in the comments, you guys let me know who you would have at each position. If you guys want to see more videos covering Asian football, of course, we have round 4 soon, then round 5, then the World Cup, Asian Cup qualifiers, tons of stuff on here. So make sure you're subscribed if you want to see all that stuff. And if you could smash the like button, that would be much appreciated. Without further ado, let's get into this. We're going to start at the goalkeeper position, and I'm going to go with Utkir Yusupov from Uzbekistan. I don't even know how debatable this inclusion is. I think any goalkeeping metric you want to look at, total saves, save percentage, penalty saves, saves inside the box, clutch moments, he literally checked off everything. Obviously, he had the 2 penalty saves in both games against North Korea, which could have completely derailed Uzbekistan's campaign. Had amazing matches against the UAE to keep Uzbekistan in those matches too. I don't really know what anybody is saying negatively about Yusupov. I thought he was a beast. I have 2 honorable mentions, though, for the goalkeeper position. Both of them are coming from Group C. I'm going with Matty Ryan from Australia. Again, 2 penalty saves, similar to Yusupov. He did split time with Joe Gauchi, so I think I docked him a few points for that. And Zion Suzuki, who didn't play the final 2 games for Japan. I think he played 8 games total. Very high save percentage, one of the highest of all goalkeepers in round 3. Had a couple big moments, Indonesia away, Saudi Arabia away. But let's be honest here, he's playing for Japan, just wasn't called upon as often, but still had, especially for his standards, a great round 3 of qualifying. At the left back position, I'm going with Calvin Verdonk from Indonesia. I think of the 9 games he played, he was one of Indonesia's better players in 8 of them. I think the only bad match he had was when Japan beat Indonesia 4-0 away. And let's be honest, everybody was trash, and he was far from the worst player in that game, so I'm not really going to dock too many points. I think Verdonk showed throughout qualifying that at the fullback position inside AFC, he is one of the best one-on-one defenders, and the stats back that up. He is top 3 on Indonesia in blocks, tackles, interceptions, and chances created. He is the only player in AFC qualifying who is top 3 on their team in those 4 categories. So even though he is a beast mode defender, he can also push up the field and create as well. So again, I really like these kind of modern fullbacks that can defend and attack. Verdonk is my left back. There are a couple honorable mentions, but I'm not going to say them because I have tried to include them at another position in this list. So let's just move on. We'll move on to the center backs, and this one was really tough. And I feel like this is going to be the position that has the most variation of names in the best 11. Here are a couple nominees. I have a list, like my 5 finalists, I guess you could say, and I'm going to end up picking 2 from here. Number 1, Yazan Al-Arab from Jordan, Hassan Al-Tambakti from Saudi Arabia, Kusnedin Alukalov from Uzbekistan, Abdulkadir Husanov from Uzbekistan, and Amine Benade from Bahrain. Now, the name that I feel the most comfortable with is Yazan Al-Arab from Jordan, and I know he had one bad moment in the first game against Kuwait when he concedes a stupid penalty late, and they dropped 2 points in that match. However, outside of that, I don't really think he put too many feet wrong. I thought he was amazing away against Iraq and Basra, was man of the match to South Korea away, really stepped up in kind of the tenser moments of Jordan's campaign, scored the first goal against Palestine in their crucially important game, and I think match day 7 it was. So I think Al-Arab, beast in the air. Yes, he had one bad moment, but overall, I think he did enough to get in the AFC Best 11, and I have one more point for him next, but I'm going to follow this up with Hassan Al-Tambakti is ultimately going to be my center back partner for Al-Arab in the best 11. Also played 9 games, had so many game-saving tackles and blocks for Saudi Arabia. Even in the Indonesia game where they lose 2-0, it could have been 3 or 4 if it wasn't for Al-Tambakti. Similar to Bahrain away, he makes some big blocks off the line to save goals for his team. As awful as Saudi Arabia were, they could have been substantially worse if he didn't play. And I still do not understand why he didn't start match day 10 against Australia, because those center backs, I think it was Kassan and maybe Lajami or somebody else, got cut up in that match. So maybe Renard should have stuck with Al-Tambakti for match day 10. Who knows? Maybe the Saudis would have came back Probably not, because their attack is booty cheeks. But anyways, those are my top 2. For Husanov, the reason I didn't go with him is I actually don't think as an individual he had that many great moments. I'm kind of harping back to the Qatar loss in particular. Thought he was pretty poor in that match. I don't think he had any amazing moments against Iran either. Same with Alikulov. I think if you look back at Iran's goals, at least one is Alikulov's responsibility in the 2-2 draw. So I'm kind of penalizing both of them slightly. And again, I'm talking fine margins here. I can only put 2 center backs, right? And Asia doesn't really have that many amazing center backs anyways. I think it's the weakest position in the continent. Maybe goalkeeper is probably the worst, actually. I would say that Husanov was the better of the 2 Uzbek center backs, because Alikulov in the games against Kyrgyzstan too, or the away game against Kyrgyzstan specifically, also not that great. He's responsible for one of the goals there as well. So those are kind of my backups, which means I do have Amine Benati from Bahrain at the number 5 position. Now look, he plays for Bahrain, and people will clown because they finished last in their group, but he as an individual had a very good campaign. And again, a lot of this has nothing to do with team performance. It has to do with how you as a player performed, because this is the AFC Best 11. If we wanted to just go off of team record, then the entire starting 11 would be Japanese or Korean with one Iranian up top. That's not how this works. So Benati, I think he was their best defender. They are painfully worse when he's not there. He does deserve a shout. But I fully admit that center backs will have the most disagreement of any position. At the right back position, I really only think there's 2 names we can nominate here, and that's So Young-woo from South Korea and Lewis Miller from Australia. For me, I'm going to go by a toenail Lewis Miller, for the simple fact that I think he has an argument to be Australia's MVP of qualifying. I do not think So Young-woo, as amazing as he was South Korea's MVP. That's another player who I will mention later in this video. And honestly, a bonus point to Lewis Miller for the redemption arc, because he was terrible at the Asian Cup. This was a guy I thought, why is he playing for the Socceroos? And not only was he their best player, he was their best attacking outlet damn near the entire time. In fact, he was second on the team in chance created. And defensively, he was very solid as well. He had a couple shaky moments against Japan, but that tends to happen when you're man-marking Kaoru Mitoma. For So Young-woo, he also technically split some time as a left back. I'm clutching at straws here. I really think that both of these guys were so good. Fun fact about So Young-woo, just to explain how much of a beast he was dribbled past 1 time in 10 games in round 3. For comparison, Lewis Miller was dribbled past 3 times. So yeah, like I said, I can't really pick between these 2. I'm just going for Lewis Miller because of his importance to his team. Moving on to my 2 CMs. I'll start with one here, and speaking of South Korea, it is Hwang In-bom. For me, he is Korea's MVP of qualifying. I do not think Sung Hyun-min has a very good argument. I don't think Lee Gang-in is a very good argument. It's certainly Kim Min-jae's nowhere near. And honestly, it probably is So Young-woo who's has the second best claim. This guy presses so well in the middle of the park for Korea. He doesn't really have a lot of support in the midfield either, so he's asked to do so much. And contrary to the Asian Cup, where I feel like he struggled a bit, maybe it was the environment and everything, the fact it's knockout football, but he seems to have learned from that, learned how to play with Park Young-woo, and now he manages the game really well. He is a true Korean field general. He was second on South Korea in big chances created and top 5 for all players in round 3, and as a guy playing as an 8, that is ridiculous. Like, he is not an attacking midfielder. He does finish with 0 goals and 2 assists, but if you actually watch South Korea, I don't even know what type of GA would have been fair and just for this man. He probably should have had 5 assists. He's one of the best long ball playing midfielders in Asia, and like I said, just helps Korea control all these games. And joining him in the other CM position, I'm going with Otabek Shukurov from Uzbekistan. Another player, just like Hwang In-bom, where if you're simply a stat merchant and you look at the GA and you say, he scored a penalty, like what is this? And got 1 assist against Kyrgyzstan. This isn't impressive. Uzbekistan played with a 2-man midfield with Kamrabekov basically as the destroyer, and Shukurov asked to do almost everything else. And the fact that he's able to do everything so well, tackle, press, create chances, again, the importance to Uzbekistan for Shukurov is insane. My main competition with him here was Wataru Endo from Japan, but I actually think Shukurov is more important than Endo is to Japan. And that's not because I think he's better than Endo. That's because Japan are just a much better national team overall. And I think in the big games, in the moments where it really mattered, I think Shukurov was better than Wataru Endo. I don't think Wataru Endo was very good against Australia. I think he was okay against Saudi Arabia, whereas I think Shukurov's best games were probably against the UAE, and he had one really good game in the 2-2 draw away to Iran. Next up, we'll talk about the attacking midfielder, and this one is a complete freaking layup. There's nobody even close to contesting this position. It's Akram Afif from Qatar. 2 goals and 7 assists in 10 games for Qatar, a team that got defensively embarrassed time and time again. Every time I talk about the stats for this guy, I have to refresh my browser because I'm like, there's no way he actually was that good. Man of the match in 4 out of the 10 games from round 3. First in chances created amongst all players in round 3, and it wasn't even close. Akram Afif created 63 chances. The second best player was Lee Gang-in from South Korea on 37. I mean, he literally doubled the second best chance creating player in Asia. Y'all gotta stop playing with Akram Afif. It's getting embarrassing. If you deny this man's greatness, you are simply a hater. Qatar's defense sucks. That's an objective truth. That's why you don't see any Qatari center backs in here. That's why Barsham was not my nominee at the goalkeeper position. But in terms of offense, the reason these guys are so scary, the reason these guys are able to beat Iran, which nobody else can do, the reason they're able to beat Uzbekistan, which nobody else can do, is because of Akram Afif. And I would still argue if there's one total MVP of qualifying, it's probably Afif. Moving on to the right wing position. This one is pretty hotly contested as well. There's a couple names that I want to mention, but I'm just going to say my winner first, and that is Harib Abdullah from the UAE. I was talking about the left back position, like who could challenge Calvin Verdonk for that left back. I think Abdullah is the only player, and I don't have the exact game-by-game breakdown. How many games did he play at left back? How many games did he play at right wing? I just know he cooked in both positions. Abdullah has to be in the AFC Best 11. Actually, I was wrong. I do have his allocation of minutes written here. He played 40% of his games as a left back for UAE in round 3. And despite that, led the team in chances created, had 4 goals and 2 assists in this round, and had plenty of clutch moments. Like I said, I think he's the hands-down MVP of UAE's qualifying campaign. He draws a penalty against Qatar in the home leg. He starts the comeback in the away leg. He has a game-winning assist in the 98th minute against North Korea in match day 9. I think he also has the first goal against Kyrgyzstan, or maybe the second goal against Kyrgyzstan. He has the assist for Kyrgyzstan away. He is responsible directly for so many of the UAE's points. The only challenger I see at the right wing position is Lee Gang-in from South Korea. He finishes on 1 goal, 3 assists, did play 9 games. But I'm sorry, even though I think Lee Gang-in had a very good, very strong qualifying campaign, Harib Abdullah is like runaway MVP for his team. I thought he was a beast. Lee Gang-in had a couple snoozers, got a couple quiet games. I'm thinking Iraq at home. Wasn't bad at all. I'm giving Lee Gang-in a 7.5 qualifying campaign, but I'm giving Harib Abdullah a 9. Next up, we have the striker position, and this one is extremely tough. I think there's a couple names you could nominate here. Eldor Shomurodov, Mehdi Taremi, Sardar Azmoun, Ayman Hussein. Am I missing anybody? Wissam Ali from Palestine. This is a completely stacked position. Even Almoz Ali, I think I should mention his name here at the very least. For Ayman Hussein, I'm not going to include him in the top 3 because he started off really hot, when Iraq were in their 1-0 merchant grind out mode. It was Ayman Hussein or bust every single time, but he did kind of drop off a little bit in the second half of the campaign. Mehdi Taremi versus Sardar Azmoun is really interesting to me because I think if you just watch Iran play, Sardar Azmoun is the better player. Like, he just causes more havoc. He's way more difficult to mark. His passing is crazy underrated. Yeah, he had a couple stinker misses, but so did Mehdi Taremi. So, again, if I have to pick one to make my AFC Best 11, I am going to pick Sardar Azmoun. He is the difference maker that makes Iran terrifying, him or Mohebi. And I'm not trying to disrespect Taremi by saying that. He's a very good player. I'm just narrowly going to go with Azmoun there. And Shomurodov, I think, is extremely important. Again, watching the games in the build-up for Uzbekistan and how he always has 2 center backs on him, and he's got to, help with the chance creation, namely, versus the finishing. But simply put, there's too much competition at the striker position for 2 goals and 1 assist to get you in the team of the season. And so ultimately the winner and my striker in this team of the season is going to be Yazan Al-Naimat from Jordan. 5 goals and 2 assists in this round, like completely paramount for a team that had no guarantee to automatically qualify. They were in an insanely tough group full of rivals with South Korea, and this guy balled out, scored some freaking golazos too, some game-winning assists. He was so good. They played 1 game without him, and they looked pretty terrible. This is a viciously competitive position, but I'm going to go Al-Naimat for a few reasons. Number 1, he was able to match Sardar Azmoun's GA despite being on a worse team. I don't think it's debatable at all to say that Jordan are less talented than Iran. So I think Al-Naimat has less support than Sardar Azmoun. I also think Yazan is one of the few players, one of the few strikers that might be more valuable to their team than Azmoun, simply because Azmoun has coverage in guys like Mehdi Taremi. They have Gayetti, they have Jacques Bosch, they have Mohebi. Jordan are extremely reliant on their front 3 to get things done. And if you pluck any of those guys out, the team takes a step back. Not saying that Iran don't take a step back without Sardar Azmoun. I'm just saying, again, by the finest of margins, I do think he's more critical. And the last reason is the output that both of these players have compared to their usage rate. I was looking at their average touches per game. Sardar Azmoun averages 33 touches per game. Yazan averages 22. So they have the same GA, but Sardar Azmoun has basically a 30% higher usage rate than Yazan. But it's up to you guys which player you want to go with. I'm going with Yazan for the reasons I outlined, and also the question, does Jordan qualify to the World Cup without Yazan Al-Naimat? And for me, the answer is no. I think they go to round 4, and I don't really know what happens there. I actually don't think they would make it without him. But would Iran qualify without Sardar Azmoun? Yes, they would. And lastly, we have the left wing position. There's a couple nominees here as well. I'm going to go through these as quickly as I can. Number 1, Kairi Mitoma. For me, I don't think he's that close to team of the season, but I do think it deserves being mentioned here. Played 7 games for Japan, 6 as a starter, 1 goal, 3 assists in that time. All of that GA coming against China, Indonesia, and Bahrain. And here's the thing for Kairi Mitoma. In the big games that he participated in, 0 chances created against Saudi Arabia and Australia. In that same time period, in those same 2 games, I should say, Takefusa Kubo, his teammate, had 7 chances created, and Junya Ito, who played 40 minutes compared to Mitoma's 160, created 3 chances. So I actually think Mitoma was a bit fraudulent in the bigger games. Keito Nakamura is another name you could maybe throw out there, but 0 goals, 0 assists in round 3, like, is there an argument here, people? Mohamed Mohebi from Iran is an interesting one for me because he didn't play a lot of games, but he did score 4 goals in the 5 that he participated in and was the man of the match in 2 of them. So the only reason it's not Mohebi is games played. Because if this man was playing 10 games on this form, I think he would have this locked up. And the other 2 names, I'm kind of stretching the positions a little bit. I have to be a bit flexible to fit in some of the best players here, is Takefusa Kubo versus Abuzbek Fezleyev. I am going to go with Takefusa Kubo narrowly here. 3 goals, 5 assists in just 6 starts for Japan is pretty insane. Granted, most of those came against Indonesia and China. But still, even comparing the 2 players in terms of chances created in round 3, Kubo created 31 chances to 19 from Fezleyev. And I will say both of these players were the best attacking players for their respective teams. And as I mentioned earlier, I think Fezleyev was Uzbekistan's 3rd most important player, their most important attacking player, basically from match day 3 when he finally started getting starts for the team up until the conclusion. Takefusa Kubo was Japan's best attacker. Is he as essential? Of course not, because you got Junya Ito, you got Risu Doan, you got plenty of options behind him. But I still at some point have to give credit to the guy who balled out. I don't care who he was playing. Kubo was cooking. And unlike guys like Mitoma or Daisen Maeda or Ueda, Kubo actually played very well in the 2 biggest games that he participated in. Even in the 1-0 loss to Australia, Kubo comes on as a sub and instantly looks way better than, I forgot who else was he. I think a different Suzuki was starting on the right wing for Japan. The difference is he was the guy who stepped up and made the differences. And so, yeah, I'm looking at my front three here, and I kind of feel like I have to include the best attacker on a team that scored the most goals in round 3, which was 30. And I don't think I'm being charitable to Takefusa Kubo by putting him in here. He completely deserved it. So anyways, guys, that is my list. That is my best 11 from AFC round 3. I will recap it very quickly for you here. I have Yusupov at the goalkeeper position. My left back is Calvin Verdonk from Indonesia. My center backs are Yazan Al-Arab from Jordan and Hassan Al-Tambakti from Saudi Arabia. At the right back position, I've gone with Lewis Miller from Australia. My two center mids are Hwang-In-Bom from South Korea and Otabek Shukurov from Uzbekistan. My attacking midfielder is Akram Rafi from Qatar. My right wing is Harib Abdullah from the UAE. My striker is Yazan Al-Naimat from Jordan. And my left wing is Takefusa Kubo. That is my list. You guys let me know what you think down below in the comments. I might have another AFC Best 11 in the works. I'm not sure if I have enough material to make it, but if I do, we'll be dropping on the channel soon. So if you guys don't want to miss that and all the other AFC videos here on DeadBall TV, again, make sure you're subscribed. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, smash the like button. I appreciate you guys for watching, and I'll see y'all in the next one.